Yo, what's poppin', people? Cobra Star Green back with you guys with another video. Look, you guys first time finding my channel, ain't that for your boy? Hit that subscribe button. All that video, yes. I get to talk about my most anticipated movie of the year. If you guys have not seen my non-spoiler review, go check it out. It's a video right before this. But this is gonna be a full-on spoiler review for the new Sinners movie, with my favorite director of all time, Ryan Coogler, and with my favorite actor of all time, Michael B. Jordan. So I'm gonna be full on talking about this. This is for people that have seen the movie or that don't care to be spoiled about the movie. But if you don't want to be spoiled or anything like that, please click away and come back later on. Also, I will talk about that post-credit scene. There's two post-credit scenes. I'll talk about them because a lot of people know about the post-credit scenes, but I'll talk about them towards the end of this video. But I'm already talking too much, man. Let's go ahead and let's get right into it. Go ahead and cue that intro.
Probably you. We got a problem. 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 It's probably you. Yeah. We got a problem. We got a problem. Yeah. We got a problem. We got a problem.
So let's go ahead and let's get right into it. Now, I'm not gonna talk about a lot of things I talked about in the non-spoiler review, or I might retract on some things. First thing, goddamn it, go see it just for the goddamn soundtrack and the score, because those two things in the movie, what the heck, are amazing. Like the score you see, full on amazing. But this will be me pretty much talking about things that kind of happened in the movie. Now, before I did see the movie, I did see someone talk about like there's like an Avengers level moment, or it was something along those lines of Avengers level moment. And I'm just assuming maybe they're talking about this moment right here in the movie. Now, if you guys have seen the movie, you guys know what this moment is, or kind of what happens surrounding this moment. You may guys remember this character right here. Can't remember her name, but to me, she kind of had like a Star-Lord moment. Like if you guys remember in the Infinity War movie with Star-Lord, you guys remember about the whole like freaking Star-Lord hitting Thanos thing. You guys remember this, right? Now there is kind of a moment like that in Sinners, pretty much, and it surrounds her, because if you guys seen the movie, you guys know her husband ends up becoming a vampire, right? So her husband becomes a vampire, and she's like, no, and then the vampire, since they all share the same brain, are pretty much like, hey, look, I don't know about your goddamn daughter. You know what I'm saying? And the big thing about these vampires are they can't go into anywhere unless they are invited in, right? So that's one of their rules. So she pretty much does the dumbest thing, because I guess you could see it as being dumb or not being dumb, but then she dies like 2 seconds right after. So it's so weird. I don't know. This is why I do these spoiler reviews, because they're more of a discussion, because I want you guys to like talk to me about this, because do y'all think this is stupid? Do y'all not think it's stupid? Now I know she has a daughter, right? I know it, but her pretty much letting the vampires in, like come on in, and then dying literally like a minute after. I'm like, what was the whole point of that? You know, that's why I was like, yo, that's a Star-Lord moment right there. So I don't know how people feel about that part. I don't know. I'm like, look, I be thinking about my daughter too, but also I think about, we gotta survive. I gotta survive this to get to my daughter. So I don't know how y'all want to look at that moment. I was just like, that is definitely a Star-Lord type moment, but I want to know how y'all guys look at it. But let's go and talk about this stuff that I couldn't even talk about, man. Now you guys know that freaking who becomes a vampire, who don't. Y'all know that. If you guys seen the movie, you guys know exactly who becomes what. And y'all know that these two both become vampires. Now this is Stack, I believe this is Stack, and this is Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld, and Stack played by Michael B. Jordan, of course, right? Now you know that these two become vampires. You've seen it in the goddamn trailer, actually. In the second trailer you'll see it. But do you guys feel like this happened too early? Because it's like right in the second act where everything kind of gets going, Haley becomes a vampire, right? And then right after, she infects Stack, or Mary infects Stack. And I was kind of thinking about it when I woke up this morning. I was like, damn, did they do that too early? Like, I feel like it could have been such an amazing moment if it happened later on in the film. You know, like later on, they're like, woo, we beat all the vampires, you know what I'm saying? And then you find out that, wait, Stack is a vampire too. You know, I feel like that would have been a much cooler moment, but that's not what happens. And Mary, Stack, they all become vampires pretty early on. And I'll talk about, like I said, them in the post-credit scene, because they're both in the post-credit scene too. But how did you guys feel about that? I think the whole vampire aesthetic was actually very, very cool. It was cool to see people like, look, this is how you fight the vampire. This is what we have to do. So I think that was pretty cool, because you know, every vampire movie kind of has like their own twist on these vampires. So this is just Ryan Coogler's twist. And what I like about this movie, this is an original movie. I was thinking about that, and then my friend Sean told me the same thing. I was like, this is very, very original, you know? So that's another thing I liked about this movie. But pretty much, you guys know damn near what I was saying in the non-spoiler review, half the freaking cast either dies or they become vampires, you know? And that's the thing I like. That's one of the things I really liked about this movie. So you get to see actors act two different ways. You see them be kind of like their normal selves or their normal characters in the movie, and then you see them become like the vampire selves, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I really do mess with shit. Like I said, man, Michael B. Jordan playing both Smoke and Stack, and that's just something I love. Cause I just saw Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, and you know how it's like, you're like, how the hell do they do something like this where they have Michael B. Jordan on the screen together? Like I always want to know how they do that. Honestly, like if I flew out to Hollywood and something like that or stuff like that, I really want to know how they do this. Like I want to ask Ryan Coogler or any other director that pulls this off, how do y'all do this? How do y'all do this? Right? But his performance, Michael B. Jordan performance is just so good. I'm honestly, I'm gonna put him up for an Oscar, because I do some things. I can kind of write some, you know, be like, hey, here's you know, my best actors of the year. I'm definitely probably gonna end up putting him in there just for this performance alone right here, because this performance is just so good. And he does a really good job at, like, you can tell the difference between each character. Like I know that you see right here, one has red, one has blue, so you can kind of tell from that way. But even if they didn't have that, or even if the characters didn't have that, their personalities, their characteristics are different, so you can tell the difference between both of these characters. So kudos to the writing squad, kudos to Michael B. Jordan, y'all pulled it off. I definitely enjoyed this. And even speaking about even Smoke's death, right, let's talk about, you know, his girl's death, Patrice right here. Whenever she died earlier on in the film, I thought that was a very sad moment, because the whole entire time, Smoke brother just turned into a vampire, right? And now his girlfriend died. And he's like, yo, what the heck? And it's funny because he can kill everybody else or hurt everybody else with ease. But when it comes to the people he truly loves, it's just so hard to do it. So when his brother Stack turns, he's just like, oh, like he just can't kill him. Like he just can't kill his brother. And then even when she is about to die, or she's actually about to turn, because she got bitten in the movie. And she's like, she tells him, she even told early on, she's like, look, if I get bitten, you kill me. You don't let me turn into a vampire, right? And I thought that was such a surreal moment when he has to kill her later in the film. Like when she's laying down and she's like, I think she said like, it's okay. And he stabs her. Oh man, I'm like, yo, those moments right there are just, it's so sad, but it's so like surreal and genuine to watch. It's like, wow, Ryan Coogler did his thing. That now, I know somebody asked me like, yo, do you think they'll do a Sinners 2? I mean, they leave it open to do a Sinners 2, kind of, because of the fact that you guys know Stack and Haley Steinfeld show up in the post-credit scene. I'll talk about that later. But we find out later on that Smoke ends up dying towards the end. Now, I'll talk about, I'll go to it right now, man. I honestly, if they would have left this whole entire part out the movie, I think the movie still would have worked on without it. But I mean, it's cool that it's still here. I'm talking about this part right here. Now, you guys know at the end of the movie, pretty much, there's a guy that's a clan, or he's supposedly the clan. I don't know. I didn't want to think about it too much, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't like to think about stuff when I'm watching movies. But there's a guy in the clan, or like I said, supposed to be clan or whatever, that ends up selling Stack and Smoke his spot. And Smoke and Stack were like, yo, bro, you come back here, we gonna shoot your ass, right? So there's something that happens on the second act, and it's like the one of the villain is like, look, this is why y'all are here, you know what I'm saying? And we know that the clan or whatever comes back in the third act, and it's a big showdown between Stack or Smoke and the clan pretty much. And I thought it was a really cool scene because, I mean, you get to see Michael B. Jordan be a freaking badass. Like, who don't want to see that? You know, like freaking action crazy, right? That's what this scene comes from right here. So who don't want to see that? And then at the end, you guys know he dies. So essentially Smoke and Stack died in the film, kind of, you know what I'm saying? One's living as a vampire and one died. But with Smoke, I was like, damn, like I really feel bad for this one, because it's like you really get to know these characters. Now you don't get to know too much about their background or their history, but you know, like Smoke and Stack ain't the most nicest people. You know, they're not the most genuine people. You know, you get to know that while you're watching the movie, because so many people could talk about them like, no, that's dirty money right there. We know you didn't get that money legally, you know. So whenever his character kind of dies and he's kind of at peace, like he looks over and he sees the girl he likes right here. I thought that was a beautiful moment though, I ain't gonna lie. When he looks over and he sees this girl, and it's like I think it was his daughter or his son, and she's like, you can hold her. I was like, oh my, I was like, yo, that's beautiful. But that just shows that he's dead. Cause you don't see something like that unless you dead. So I was like, damn, that's a really, really cool moment. So I'm glad they included it in the film. But I just want to, like, do y'all guys think the movie works without it? Or did you guys rather prefer Smoke actually end up making it in the film? So I want to know your guys' thoughts on that. Like I said, in the non-spoiler review, I did talk about how good I loved the soundtrack, and I love the score. You know, I think, like I said in the non-spoiler review, I think it takes advantage of its time period. You know, I can't remember the exact time period this movie is exactly set in. I'm sorry, but the blues, all that was big during that time period, and I'm so glad that it was able to show it in this movie. They were actually to express it. You can hear it in this movie. I think that's one of the biggest stars in the movie. And I think I even also said this when I was doing my non-spoiler review, that every music you listen to, it's got its roots from somewhere. Listen to country, got its roots from somewhere. Listen to hip hop, got its roots from somewhere. Everything is inspired from something, came from something, right? And I'm so glad Ryan Coogler showed it in this movie, even if it looked weird in some areas, right? There's a scene, I'll even show you guys kind of where it is. He plays Sammy, which I'm gonna talk about this actor in a little bit, because I thought he did a phenomenal job. And actually, if you really think about it, the movie actually follows him and not Michael B. Jordan and Smoke and Stack. It's actually his movie, if you really think about it. But you know, there's this whole entire scene where everybody's singing and dancing. He's playing the guitar and stuff like that, and they're showing like hip hop dancers. They show, like, I think it was like Mexican culture stuff. It's like all these different cultures that they're showing at the same time as this guy's playing. And I thought that was such a beautiful moment. Oh my God. Cause I'm like, yes, cause everybody, a lot of people know where like hip hop comes from. Hip hop comes from this. R&B comes from this. You know, I'm like, I'm so glad Ryan Coogler was like, look, I'm gonna give y'all a goddamn history lesson. I know this is just a vampire movie, right? And I think it's the best vampire movie of all time, which, I mean, the competition ain't that goddamn crazy, but it's so much more than a vampire movie. Culturally, this is a very good culture movie, a very good black film. You know, that's why I was like, yo, like this movie kind of like stands on its own. Like, I already know no other vampire movie fucking with it, but when it just adds layers like this, yeah, y'all now not touching it. Y'all not touching it. Y'all not touching it. Don't even try to touch it. But I was so glad Ryan Coogler showed that. I was like I said, in the scene, it might look a little weird. You're probably like saying like, what the heck? But as the more you understand the movie, as the more it does it, you're like, oh, this is what Ryan Coogler is trying to show. And I'm so glad he expressed it, and I'm so glad he showed it. It works so well for me. Now, talking about this goddamn actor. Now, I don't know. I've not seen the actor in too many things, honestly. This guy's name, I don't even know if it's a guy or a kid. I don't even know. But Miles Cadden, I think it's how you say his last name. He plays Sammy in the movie. And I think this is the first time I've ever actually seen him in a movie. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Maybe I have seen him in something else, but I can't remember. But at least from this movie, like I said, the movie pretty much follows this guy. He's the first person you see in the movie. He's the last person you see in the movie. Or he's the last character, I would say, you see in the movie. Y'all know what happens toward the end, but he's the last character you see in the movie. But I just thought his performance might get overlooked, y'all, because I know you got Michael B. Jordan, you got Haley Steinfeld you think about, you even got Jack O'Connell that you might think about also. He played the villain. But this kiddo right here, or this guy right here, he might be my goddamn age while I'm saying kid, but that's a star right there. That's a star in the making. I need to see him in some more roles because he does his thing. His performance is just so good in the movie. And like I said, everybody's performance is really, really good. There was no bad performances I saw in the film. I'm like, God damn, give the whole cast Oscars because everybody does great. And I was like, God damn. But yeah, man, this movie just it blew me away. Looking at some of the performances, the soundtrack, the camera work was actually really good too. That's one thing that might get overlooked as well. I thought the cinematography was really good. Everything the guy did with goddamn Ryan Coogler, he just did his thing. I would say it's one of the movies where you definitely need to go see it in IMAX. I'm actually about to go see it in IMAX right now because I was like, yo, I want to see this on a way bigger screen. Don't wait for this to hit no digital. Nah, go see this right now. But another thing I want to talk about, man, is let's talk about that post-credit scene just for a little bit. Let's talk about the post-credit scene. Now, I felt like this is one of the best ways to do a post-credit scene. Now, you guys know that when we do post-credit scenes, we're talking about like typical Marvel post-credit scenes where it's like 30 seconds and they kind of tease the next thing. Well, honestly, you could leave the movie and like post-credit, you could be like, okay, I didn't see post-credit scene, that's fine, right? But I think this post-credit scene works so well because it adds something to the movie and you can see it as it actually closing the movie. Like in the post-credit scene, they go, I forgot how many years it was in the future, but they go way into the future where, I'm gonna show you guys a picture, where Sammy is older, or he becomes older, and he's visited at a bar, I can't even find it, by Mary and Smoke. And it's funny because like you see I think it was like in the 90s, I believe, and they're all like dressed up. And they're dressed up for the 90s. I can't find a picture online or anything, but they're both dressed up for the 90s. And Smoke is like, or Stack is like, hey man, like Smoke told me like, yo, don't come after you. He's talking to Sammy. He's like, look, you're the one person or whatever. He was like, look, he's like, let you live. So I thought that was a really cool moment. And Sammy's still doing his guitar thing. And I thought that was a really beautiful moment because like I said, you could leave the theater. And it's not like it's teasing the next movie or anything, but it's just, it really does a really good job at closing this one. Like the original ending of the movie closes this one, but if you stay toward the post-credit scene, it really closes this movie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're gonna make a second one. They definitely could run it back. You could just have it, I guess kind of being from the vampire's perspective this time. Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld coming back again, and these two are the main vampires now. So you could definitely run it like that. I mean, they definitely leave it open. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Honestly, I'm hoping people actually go support this movie so Ryan Coogler actually can make a second one. But we'll see with that. But look, you guys know, man, I enjoyed this movie from beginning to end, especially the performance. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed out. I know I said in the non-spoiler review that yes, it's a lot of genres mixing together. It's a thriller. You can look at it as a Western. Oh, what's the other one? And it's mixed with so many genres that you're just kind of like, how does this work? how can Ryan Coogler actually pull this off? And the fact that he does is just like, whoa. A lot of directors could not putting so many genres in together and mix them into one. It's a comedy in some aspects, right? So a lot of directors cannot mix a lot of things together like that, but Ryan Coogler did, and it absolutely worked. And one thing I noticed is I was like, the budget on this, I don't know how big the budget was, because this movie is only really shot in like 3 locations, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's not that many locations that this thing is definitely differently shot in. So I was like, yo, Ryan Coogler was able to work with very limited things, I feel like. Now, I don't know, he was using like, amazing cinematography and amazing camera and stuff like that, but this film don't go all over the place. It kind of stays in like one little area, you know what I'm saying? So you got to really appreciate that, and them actually being able to take advantage of the spot that they're actually shooting in. But yeah, y'all know I loved it. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Best movie of the year for me, at least so far. Best movie I've seen in probably the last couple of years. You guys know that. But hey, look, you guys first time finding my channel, hit the subscribe button, like the video, tell me you guys thoughts. Oh, I didn't talk about the second post-credit scene. So there is one more post-credit scene. You don't really got to stay for it. It's just Sammy playing his guitar again. So you don't really need to stay for it. You could probably leave after the first one, which, I mean, when I see it again today, I'm leaving after the first one. But I mean, it's cool if you stay for it. But the second one is like, you ain't really gotta stay for that second one. But the first one, definitely stay for it, because it's a good like 2 to 3 minute scene. It's actually really, really good. But I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Peace.